this address, in particular, I would like this to be focused and seek the audience of the Directorate General of Shipping, the Ministry of Shipping, because now the subject I am going to talk about is something which is pertaining to our national interests. India has been a seafaring nation by tradition for hundreds of years. I would say that we've excelled as Indian representation in shipping during the last 5 to 6 decades, with a lot of Indian mariners have done a lot of creative work. Wherever I had worked as a lone Indian, the view and impression from most of the foreign nationals is one that is of high regard for the Indian merchant shipping professionals. The reason is the special attributes of Indian mariner for his knowledge base, his competency, his extreme flexibility to adapt to the working culture of a mixed range of other nationals. And these attributes play a very vital role. This is about people who are working on the ship in a floating management condition on a ship. Equally so, it's very important for us to bear in mind that as ship managers and ship owners, the Indians have done extremely well, which is why major contribution of ships from foreign owners have been till today managed by the Indian ship managers. They have the poise of the profession, and now we are talking in the context of today's recession in the shipping industry, which is the center of our concern. Now, why this recession? Is it the first time? No. It has happened before. We have gone through a recessive condition in shipping in the 70s, and now we are again going through, after some years of good prospect in the industry. But there is a difference between the time 40 years back or 30 years back and today. The number of seafaring population from India was not as much as today, what it is and what we want to be. As one of the earlier, the Director General of Shipping pointed out with a lot of passion that India should be represented at least by 1 million seafarers in the world, which is a very, very conservative, ambition. And this is how the maritime education and training came into play, as the private training institutes came into existence, while all along it was the governmental, training institutes which have been traditionally training. Like if you take the DUFRIN to start with, and the Directorate of Marine Engineering training in Calcutta and Bombay, these have been traditionally the ones. And when the STCW 95 code came into existence and to be implemented, the Directorate General of Shipping felt that it was not possible to upgrade from the earlier STCW 78 to 95 system with the existing institutes at that time. So the private players were given the opportunity. A lot of people, particularly from the south, many from Bombay and Calcutta, came into taking up this venture. But here, right or wrong, as anything that is a concept, when it comes to implementation, the concept is only as good as it is implemented. But there have been flaws, serious flaws in the implementation. I'm not here to point blame on anyone. This session of address is not to blame anyone. It's an evolution. We are going through an evolution of creating something from nothing. And whether it is success or a limited success is also tied up with a particular time frame, particular time of the market. The market was good, even very poor students will be taken in. The market is not good, even the best student will find standard. So that is what is the position today. Now, gentlemen, I would like to point here is the center of my concern revolves around the unemployability of a majority of graduate marine engineering and nautical students coming out of all training institutes, unable to find themselves to board a ship to get a very justifiable minimum mandatory shipboard training, which is required of them to fulfill before they qualify to appear for the very base level of Mercantile Marine Department examination to win the first level of certificate of competency. Many training institutes promised that they will be affiliated to university, they will have an ISO quality system, they will have gradation, all sorts. Yes, all that remains on paper. But today I find very distressfully the quality of training has taken a back seat. Year by year, the students are getting admitted into the marine training institutes approved by the DG Shipping. They all claim that they meet with the quality, while the ship managers and the ship owners of the industry, our own people, find that they are not rising to the level of the expectation. Hence, the ship owners and ship managers have resorted to training their own requirement by opening their own training institutes, which are duly approved by the DG Shipping. So now we are having two parallel systems. The marine training system by the private institutes, the maritime training and education system operated by the ship managers of various companies. So the norm has become that all those who are trained in the training institutes operated by the shipping companies are merely placed in their own fleet, or they become qualified to be taken in some other sister organization. Pitiably, that is not the case with the private training institutes in today's condition of recession in the shipping industry, followed by the global economic recession in trade. Today, the merchant shipping is almost limping. All over the world, the cargo movements have reduced, the ships have reduced, the shipping fleets are reduced, the management of vessels are changing hands. Whoever is more competitive, whoever is more cost-cutting, hence the ship managers are shifting over to the foreign nationals. The foreign nationals who are being trained, and They seem to be capturing the market. To name a few, Chinese, Croatians, Filipinos have been popularly sought some time back. Now they are being joined by Angolans, Ethiopians, and so on. In my personal opinion and personal interaction, in fact, working relation with most of these nationals, I find that they are good enough. They are very good. The major difference between our product and the foreign nationals is basically where we are supposed to perform is with our hands-on skill. On a merchant ship, alone at sea, with the task of carrying 100,000 tons of cargo safely to the destination, one cannot fool around with poorly qualified, poorly competent, or poorly determined crew on board. Lot of consequences. A incompetent crew can be lined up in a foreign port. Today, the port state control is having a strict, stringent expectation of compliance. So the ships are detained, the crew are named incompetent, and sometimes the shipping company running into heavy loss by paying liabilities such as pollution, accidents, and misperformance of the officers and crew. So this is the scenario today. Now it has become very important that recognizing what we don't have, what we lack, which I gather from some top class managers of shipping companies. I gather that the Indians are not sought for some reasons such as the cost, what an Indian officer is costing in the open market against the foreigners. Secondly, the attitude of continuous sustenance of working mind at sea. Thirdly, the skill, the hand skill of fixing anything. Though a graduate engineer or a graduate mariner has done a lot of academics in the college, when it comes to application on the ship, the situation demands that you have to give hands-on performance. If a vessel is stuck due to a technical problem, nobody from outside can come and rescue. It is only the few hands on the ship, the chief engineer down to the very few engineers on board, or the shipmaster to very few officers on board, have to solve the problem to ensure that the ship owner does not lose in any way, the vessel is not stranded, and the cargo reaches the destination safely. So under the circumstances, now it has become very important for the Directorate General of Shipping to look into this aspect. Now it is observation from everyone. It's an open secret that our Indian market is flooded with Indian officers and crew. The seafarers and officer level, the crew and officers, they are flooding the market, while there is a mismatch between the supply and the job availability for them to go on board the ship. The cost of maritime education is sky high. At the end of the degree course, the boys are not getting their shipboard phase of training by any means. The Director General of Shipping put the onus on the maritime training institutes, while though the maritime training institutes try to do it, accept it, but practically it is proved that maritime training institutes cannot be responsible for shipboard slots for the students. So in this case, it has got to be sorted out only by the Director General of Shipping, which in turn is the Ministry of Shipping, taking the national interest in the employability of our boys. They have got to be given the shipboard skill of training. Now, how are we going to achieve that? The precedents would say that, it is not workable. A maritime training institute bought a ship. Now that is going to be nearly a scrap. They could not realistically deliver training. Shipping company offered the Indian leading managers training ship where they tried for a few years and now they have given up management. Then some bright person comes for the DG shipping to say that the shipboard training is not carried out, so all the training institutes must get a ship in campus. At enormous cost, ship is broken into parts and then brought and then assembled in various training institutes. But it cannot meet the exact requirement of training. It's still a compromise. And this compromise is not acceptable when it comes to delivering hands-on training to the boys as much as what Filipino or Croatian or any other foreign national would do. So the stress is more on the degree and less on the skill. This is what is our problem. Now, esteemed colleagues, seniors to me, juniors to me, and esteemed Director General of Shipping, the Honorable Minister of the Shipping Transport Ministry, I would like to propose that in India, we are especially blessed with a place in Gujarat, where the ships are broken. It's one of the top-class demolition yard in the world. You're getting varieties of ships. I would like the Shipping Ministry and the Director General of Shipping to consider acquiring 15 to 20 of such ships at demolition rate. Establish a very, very big base for training with substantial waterfront in sheltered waters. Some of these ships can perform afloat training in the harbor, while some of the ships which are fit to go to sea can be used for the nautical training, to be sailing in restricted zones. This will give realistic training, not the ship in campus, built in a training institute. So this would entail some investment. I estimate out of hand, and just say that may require about 1,000 crores. It is a well worth capital investment from the government. At the same time, it's regenerative. The ships which are purchased or at demolition rates can be sold off after 2 to 3 years at demolition rate, so nothing is lost. Secondly, one may point out that the demolition ships cannot be used for training because they are not seaworthy, but that is not so. In times of poor economic trade, many ships are getting to the demolition yard just because they are not economically trade-worthy. It doesn't mean that their material state is bad. So certainly I feel it's a viable proposition which I would like the fraternity to consider and join with one unified hand and work with the shipping directorate. We have got professional bodies with us like the Institute of Marine Engineers, the Company of Master Mariners, and so many other private bodies we have. We can sit together and talk it out and make it a workable proposition. As I said before, anything at concept stage was good, but implementation was not efficient. That doesn't mean that the implementation failing does not mean that the concept was not good. Certainly, as one may point out, that we are reinventing a wheel, but I think we have not invented the right wheel at the right time. So that was the half-done job. So today I would like to emphasize that the only option out is to give a very, very skillful, top-notch training for the students. We have got to be very, very selective and train top-notch teachers for maritime education, because it is not academic education alone like other engineering or other colleges. It's much more than that. It gives a sense, all these maritime training institutes are residential. The reason for their being residential is to inculcate certain quality in every student coming out, so that he is acceptable to the international industry. So we have to look into the quality of our maritime training and the teachers. We have got to look into the infrastructure, which we have got to promote, and without any delay. And if we don't do this, our vessel will become soon empty of talents. All that we have been able to boast all along will be consigned to history. And given this position to continue, the position of inaction, I predict that India will lose its place as a forerunner of maritime nations in the world. I wouldn't like to see it in my lifetime. I would like to see every student coming into the maritime education is assured of his shipboard placement for getting his basic minimum sea time to go for the first level of examination. Beyond that is his own competency, skill and working and sincerity. But up till that level, no degree in nautical science or engineering is complete unless the shipboard training is ensured for every student. Please do not take the parents for a ride because they are in economic distress, having taken a lot of money, lured by colorful advertisements from the agents, purely commercially intent agents in various places in the north, south, east and west of this country. The training institutes fall for them and take their help to fill their seats just because they want to fill their seats to make money for the training institutes. This has got to stop. So I prevail and request, appeal to the Directorate General of Shipping as well as the Shipping Ministry to identify each and every commercially motivated middleman agents who have got no passion for the shipping industry, but they are luring and cheating and living in the cheap money of the innocent public, and this has got to stop. Thank you for your patient listening. I hope that you would consider this appeal. I am willing to sit with any of you to put up a workable plan, and there are experts in this country who can go to Alam. They can locate the place. They can study the area where the training base is to be established. The central government and the state government can work together and establish a training base of shipboard training as a national pride in this country. So we will stop seeing the new students shedding tears, parents in agony and dismay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. God bless.